So this is just an interesting thread on Twitter from December, and it stands as a perfect example of a phenomenon I've been noticing for a while now in how the public understands evolution in a social context. Somebody has found the old data that OkCupid sourced from its own site years ago, and finds it sad and embarrassing. The reason he finds it sad and embarrassing is that the data shows that the age of men women respond to goes up with their own age, whereas the age men respond to clusters around 20 years old. This is sad and embarrassing because even though the age of consent is 16 to 18 in various Western countries, older men getting with 20-year-old women is some kind of near-immoral travesty and shows how men are shallow entities that are betraying the perfectly good older women they could be choosing instead. I guess men should pretend to prefer things they don't in order to be ideologically convenient. Someone points out that choice has nothing to do with it, mentioning that younger women are more fertile, but he could have also said that older women are progressively more likely to produce children with genetic disorders. Any of the comments that mention things like this get responded to in this way. Yes, I'm sure 100% of all those dudes are on OkCupid looking to settle down and start a family, thinking about fertility and egg health. And here we can see the point I'm making with this video. There are a lot of people in our society who aren't religious creationists but still don't understand how evolution works at all. Fertility and egg health is not really the explanation of why individual men find younger women attractive. They quite simply just do. Fertility and egg health are one of a number of reasons why men as a sex tend to find younger, but still fully developed, fuck off pedos, women attractive. You see, there are various mutations that can occur in DNA leading to a new gene, and the result of that gene may be a new trait in the organism. This is simply something that happens mechanistically, driven by the processes that cause mutation. The reason men and every human and every animal has ended up the way they are as a collective is because certain mutations were selected for by the natural environment. And in this case, the men who simply happened to prefer older women because of whatever mutations were less good at passing down their genes and had less kids than men who preferred younger women. At no point there do individual men sit around deciding what they'll be attracted to. It's amazing to me that most of the idiots who personify evolution in this way in this thread are leftist feminists who seem to believe that straight men should just reassign what makes their dicks hard, and yet they don't see the irony in their opposition to religious fundamentalists who want gays to choose not to be gay. This can't be true. When the revelation hits hard. Men are pathetic. How is that pathetic? Pathetic because it means that young women can't defer settling down forever and expect to have the same amount of eligible partners by the time they decide to do so? Sorry, do you just expect other people's life decisions to conveniently line up with your own and then hold them responsible when they don't? And it just goes on like this. Ew, so it turns out Roy Moore wasn't that far out of sync, he just acted on it. Roy Moore had a sexual situation with an underage girl. The ages listed in the OkCupid data are in the 20s, okay? One of those things is child molestation and the other is perfectly legal. So this woman is essentially condemning all men as child predators, which is where she lines up with the Internet Paedophile Defence Force, which is a thing unfortunately, who would use this data to try and argue that men get as close as they can to lower ages without crossing a line of social acceptability, because really, they find underage girls the most attractive. Taking aside all ethics for a moment, and this is important, the argument I've seen goes that girls who have started puberty are ready to breed and are therefore the most fertile they'll ever be. Of course, the problem is the first part of that sentence is correct, but the second is dead wrong. Girls who have finished puberty are the most fertile. So you'd be talking girls who are around 16 to 18. Perhaps you could argue that men would prefer 18-year-olds and are bumping up the age to 20 or 22, but honestly, even if a girl of 18 looks visually similar to a girl of 22, she might be a lot more annoying. People change a lot in the transition from the late teens to their 20s due to how rapidly their lives and responsibilities are changing. It's totally possible that your average man is dialing up the age he prefers slightly because of the exact reaction in this thread, but I doubt it's to the point where he'd really prefer underdeveloped girls, because that's the same as saying the majority of men have evolved to be attracted to less fertile women, not more fertile ones. It's also scandalous because bringing the ethics back in, you're saying that they're potential child molesters. You know, the average man. What's true about some men isn't true for the average. But anyway, you can see the same arguments again and again. Someone will mention biological programming, and someone will, through their distorted understanding of evolution, interpret this to mean that men are making rational calculations about fertility, rather than this being the background explanation for why they have irrational impulses on the individual level. A lot of the gender, sex and sexuality issues that plague modern politics are driven by people misunderstanding and anthropomorphizing evolution like this. I wish they wouldn't.